Good afternoon. My name is Joe Howell, and I'm quite proud to say that I'm the principal of Stewart Middle School, a position that I've held now since 1979. On September 8, 1925, Stewart Junior High School opened its doors to slightly over 1,000 students. Today, thousands of students and 75 years later, Stewart Middle School continues to meet the challenges and fulfill the dreams of those who founded and funded our school 3/4 of a century ago. Today we celebrate the accomplishments of all who have entered our doors as faculty and staff, parents and students. Today we renew old friendships and rekindle fond memories. And today, as we figuratively join hands and span those 75 years from our very first students to our current student body, we will bring the history of the school named for Thomas Jamison Stewart to life. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for one verse of America. I pledge allegiance
Chairperson of Stewart Student Council, Pride and Spirit Committee. Dr. Michael V. Woodall has worked in various aspects of education for 35 years and has served as superintendent of Norristown Area School District since 1993. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Michael V. Woodall.
Thank you. I would especially like today to thank all of you for coming to this wonderful celebration of this school, which has meant so much to this community, to Pennsylvania, and to the United States. I would also at this time like to thank Senator Tillman, Representative Victor, and Mayor LeBlanc for joining us today in this celebration. I would also like to thank all of you who have worked so hard to put this celebration on. It's truly fitting that we come and celebrate this anniversary of this school, and that many of the graduates of this school have come to join us. We meet today on the heels of a national election, which has shown us more and more how precious the right to vote is. I would submit to you that Stewart Middle School, like the other public schools in America, are what bring us together as a nation. Public schools teach us to respect one another and to work together and to forge a democracy, which has to be renewed every year. Public schools contribute to the fabric of America. They need to be strong. They need to be strengthened. They need to be supported. And I thank you so much for being here today to support Stewart Middle School. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Ryan Kennedy, and I'm the president of Stewart Student Council. Mayor Ted LeBlanc has been active in public service in Norristown since 1975 and is currently serving his first 4-year term as mayor of Norristown. We are pleased to welcome Mayor Ted LeBlanc.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is an honor to be here. I just want to make a brief remark, and then I have an important proclamation to read. The remark I want to make would be to follow up on what Dr. Woodall said. Yes, the right to vote is precious, and every vote certainly does count. If you didn't know that before, now you do. We've had many close elections in Norristown on a local level. Back when I first started to run for council, if you won by 30 votes, it was a lot. I think I won by 26, but at least I won, and that's what counts. However, you can see on a national level where truly millions and millions of votes are cast, and it comes down to a couple of hundred votes. I mean, it's truly amazing, and it just points out what a great country we do live in. No other country in the world could this happen without tanks being in the streets. Take my word for it. So we live in a great country, and if you didn't vote this time, I bet you will the next time, won't you? And that's it for that. But I would like to say one thing about Stewart Middle School and all the schools, about how important they are to the borough of Norristown. These schools have put out numerous community, state, national, and international leaders. And we owe these schools and the people who run them all the support that we can give them. The teachers, the administrators, everyone, down to the maintenance people. Anyone who works in these schools deserves our support and a lot of credit. And I take my hat off to them. And I'm not here to make a speech, so I will now read this proclamation. Thomas Stewart, a Civil War hero and Adjutant General of Pennsylvania, was honored in the construction of this school as a junior high school. The Thomas Stewart Junior High School cornerstone was laid on May the 10th, 1924. On September 8th, 1925, the school opened its doors to 886 pupils, I have joked, 31 high-class instructors, and Principal Thomas C. Biddle. Whereas the school was originally designed to be the new high school, the trend at the time, however, was to begin opening junior high schools for grades 7 through 9. The place was surrounded by woods. An open field was across Marshall Street where cows grazed in meadows. There was a separate boys and girls side entrances to the building with the faculty admitted through the front door. The new school boasted a large gym that was also used for all athletic events. The auditorium was magnificent and had seating for 1,000. Many operettas, plays, and musicals have been held over the past 75 years. During the war years, the students helped make bandages in the Red Cross Club. They collected tin cans for salvage, as well as newspapers and other medals. They wrote to servicemen and helped purchase magazines for the veterans' hospitals, and were involved with cleanup days in Norristown through the years. The chorus sang at events and visited nursing homes. Whereas today, 630 students in grades 6 through 8 attend Stewart Middle School, headed by the principal, Mr. Joseph Howe. Now therefore, I, Ted LeBlanc, Mayor of the Borough of Norristown, am honored to congratulate Stewart Middle School on the 75th anniversary and wish Stewart Middle School continued success. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Joshua Covey, and I am the co-chairman of the Pride and Spirit Committee. John W. Fichter is a member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives of the 70th Legislative District. Representative Fichter was recently re-elected to his 5th term in office. Please welcome Representative John W. Fichter.
That young man just told me earlier that he wants to run for this seat someday, and I said, anything I can do to help you. Certainly a pleasure for me to be here today. I think the school board, the people that planned this particular affair, the administrators and teachers of the Norristown Area School District deserve an outstanding round of applause. I know we have a lot of alumni from Stewart sitting out in the audience here, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that the class of 1949 that graduated from Stewart, in my opinion, was very, very good. As a matter of fact, I think it was outstanding. And the only reason I say that is because there's a young lady by the name of Mary Ann Brunner that graduated in 1949, and she happens to be Mary Ann Fichter today, my wife for 45 years. Having said that, I guess I better move on before somebody starts throwing things at me. But anyhow, I can't say enough about the Norristown Area School District and the fine job that they do in teaching our children to ready themselves for the future and go out into life and really accomplish what they want to accomplish. And obviously, if you have the drive and the commitment and with the dedication of the teachers and administrators that we have, they can do anything they really want to do in the future. So we obviously pray for them to keep them healthy and just study, study, study. Listen to your teachers, listen to your parents, and you'll never go wrong. I've had a request, in addition to having a house citation to commemorate this day, they also have fulfilled a promise that I made to a young lady sitting right here. We have a gorgeous statue of General Stewart in Harrisburg. And she called, if she called once, she called about 10 times, are you going to get the picture, are you going to get the picture? Well, I'm happy to say I have the picture of General Stewart, and I will present it to the young lady now. Just a minute. Just to be sure you can read what's on the bottom of the statue, I had that framed also. So God bless everyone. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Krista Beatty. I'm the Vice President of Stewart Student Council. State Senator Richard A. Tillman represents the 17th Senatorial District and also was re-elected to his office this past week. It is my pleasure to introduce Senator Richard A. Tillman.
Thank you very much. As I look out, it's just wonderful to see so many graduates of this great institution in the audience. You're standing out in the hall, it's great, and I want to particularly thank the members of Student Council for their kindness when we came in here. You've done a wonderful job, and my very best to you in your future endeavors, whatever they may be, but I know that each and every one of you will succeed. I'm delighted to be here today and present to the principal of this great school a congratulatory resolution passed in the Senate of Pennsylvania. I will not read the whole thing, but this was passed unanimously in the Senate on October 11, 2000, and I would like to present it to you, sir. Thank you for inviting me to join you, and I look forward to the rest of the day as I walk up and down the hall looking at some of the old newspapers. It's just fascinating to read the history. 75 years. Great anniversary.
As ninth graders, they presented to the school a bust of George Washington, which currently hangs in our library today. Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 1928 winter, would you please stand? I have since met some other alumni who were also here during the 1920s. But before I ask them to stand, I want to tell you what it was like in the 1920s. Your school colors became orange and blue. Your first yearbook was called the Stewart Junior. Teachers were called instructors or instructresses. Boys Week brought the faculty switching places with the students. Intramural games began during the noontime hour. After school clubs were introduced, and in 1926, you participated in a play called Growth of a Nation. Mr. Thomas Biddle was your principal at that time. Will the alumni that are here from the 1920s please stand to be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated.
In the 1930s, Miss Anna Chambers was your new principal. Every Thursday morning, students looked forward to an assembly. Student Council began making generous gifts to charities derived from their fundraising money. Operettas were presented annually by the students and the staff. The annual spelling bee began for the junior high students. The Wild Cat and Wild Kitten Awards were given out for the service to the school and for good citizenship. Each morning, students pledged their allegiance to the Stewart flag as well as the American flag. Will all of the alumni from the 1930s who are present please stand?
During the 1940s, you received blue or orange slips for good grades and an orange S for your sport participation. You collected paper, fat, rags, and tin cans for salvage during World War II. You read the Scribbler, the school newspaper. Your favorite column was called Snoopy, which included all of the school gossip. Your lunch was purchased for 30 cents. Your yearbook was called the Stewart Annual, and as ninth graders, you looked forward to the Shine, your formal dance, at which time the May King and Queen were crowned. Will those students, or those alumni who were here from the 1940s, please stand.
The 1950s. The first Orange and Blue Review variety show was held at Stewart. A television set was placed in the auditorium for you to watch the inauguration of President Eisenhower. You helped fight polio by collecting money for the March of Dimes. Pep rallies were held before important games, such as those against rival Rittenhouse. You planted azaleas in front of the school in memory of all the teachers who served at Stewart. There were 4 different principals during these 10 years. Mr. Frederick Shealy, Mr. William J. Spangler, Mr. Cyrus Wagner, and Mr. Stanley Dietrich. Will the alumni from the 1950s who are present please stand?
During the 1960s, Stewart students were referred to as the Studrats. And we called Rittenhouse the Rottenhouse kids. And that rivalry increased with each year. The school paper was called the Scribe. Blue slips were handed out for receiving A's and B's. Miss Manbeck had a boys and girls chorus called the 10 Tones and the 9 Notes. And school plays were held annually, especially during the Christmas holidays. In 1967-68 school year, a new addition was placed on the Selma Street side of Stewart, and Mr. Harry Spangler, a former teacher and beloved coach, became your principal. Will those people that are here from the 1960s at Stewart please stand?
Rittenhouse football game was played. Stewart Junior High became Stewart Middle School in 1973. The school colors changed to blue and white, and the mascot changed from the Wildcat to the Eagle. Mr. Mitchell Fenimore was principal and held winter cooking classes after school 2 days per week. Students received a blue and white S for sports participation. Will the alumni from the 1970s who are present please stand? The 1980s. Students played the faculty in basketball games. Mr. Payne printed a soccer news publication called Soccer at 2'em. Student council held dances and collected canned foods. Intramurals were still popular with games between homerooms, and the girls' 4x100 relay team took the gold medal at the Penn Relays. Will the alumni from the 1980s who are present please stand?
In the 1990s, Stewart's football team had 4 undefeated seasons: 1991, 1995, 1996, and 1999. Signatures of Stewart students and faculty blasted off into space on the John Glenn shuttle mission. After-school clubs resumed with 175 students participating. Stewart earned a Pennsylvania Department of Education School Performance Incentive Grant in 1991 and a Pennsylvania School Performance Incentive Award in 1998. In 1999, the baseball team won the area middle school tournaments. Will those students that graduated during the 1990s please stand? And for the year 2000, we welcome the alumni to be from the first decade of the new millennium and who are in the process of making their mark on history. Will students who attend Stewart now and will be graduating in 2000 and beyond please stand?
Thank you, ladies. Our next presenter concluded his teaching career a little over a year ago, having taught in our district for 40 years, 34 of them here at Stewart. Please welcome Mr. Ray Payne.
Thank you. I'd like to see how many of the former faculty members we have here. But before I do that, let's take a look at the faculty members that are currently here. We'd like all the current faculty members to please stand. Thank you. We already know that 5 of those current faculty members were also students here. How about if you 5 stand up? I think you're all here. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I hate to say it, but I think I was here when all of them were here too. I would like to take a look at some of the former faculty members, some of those people that go back in time, maybe even before myself. How many faculty members do we have here right now? We'd like them to stand. Faculty members previous, please stand. Some of those faces are very familiar. I've been told that former principal's secretary is also with us today. Anna Chambers' secretary is here today. And where are you, ma'am? Please stand. Appreciate it. Right down front. Thank you. We'd like to recognize at this time the families of two former principals that served with us here. The family of Harry Spangler, if you please stand. And that's the family of Harry Spangler, his wife Jane. And on this side we have the family of Mitch Fenimore. Thank you very much. We also would like to introduce any of the current school board members or past school board members that are with us today. I know there are a bunch of them here. So if the current and past school board members would please rise and be recognized. Thank you. Thank you very much. And there's another group that we have, we must make sure that we recognize today, and this is that group of parent-teacher club presidents or school board, or not, parents club members and parents club presidents. Thank you. So if any of the parents club presidents from past time and current time would please stand and be recognized. We'd like to thank you all very, very much. Thank you.